Angie, why is it raining so hard? My hair's all messed up.
I just want to float this boat. What?
Hi there.
What's that?
I don't know.
I got some stuff down here if you'd like to come in the drain. It's not creepy whatsoever.
It is creepy, Bobby. Don't do it.
Actually, it's not. I actually have the best hair
It's
products
probably
down here.
$2.
Angie, my hair's messed up. I need the hair
You don't
product.
need it.
No. I got
I'm
some nice
cheap.
gel moves.
I'm going to grab it. Come on.
No, come on, a little closer. Come on.
Come
Gotta
on.
be quicker than
Give me.
that.
Give
You gotta
me.
be
Give
quicker
me.
than that.
You're going to get eaten for
Gotta be
sure.
Ah, my hair! That thing broke the mic.
You scared
my
the
ears.
shit out of me. You scared the shit out of me. You screamed first.
I know, but I saw Bobby got me, and he scared me when he screamed, and I scared myself from screaming. I don't know what happened. I'm just gonna tell you, I think I pooped a little.
Damn it. Why didn't you do that to yourself at Dragon Con?
Sometimes you gotta poop yourself. It's the poop hole loophole. Hey.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the FreeRotation podcast. I'm Bobby. I am joined by Angie, the best producer ever,
Well, hello and thank you.
and Beckles, the best small Asian child on the planet.
Scuffed Movie reviews.
Yes. We are doing the movie reviews today. We're talking about It, Chapter 2.
And some of the other Stephen King
Yes, and
stuff.
various Stephen King works
Oh,
afterwards.
I'm dabbing both ways. Because we're talking about Stephen King.
Are you Dabo Sweeney?
Dabbed. Yeah. We're
Well-
talking about.
We also dived Dragon Con, though. We made it through barely. Me and Angie died at the end.
Yeah, it's funny because me and Angie were talking about how every year I'm the one that gets sick on Sundays, but this year it was Angie who got sick.
And Bobby.
Yeah, I threw up in my sister's toilet when I got home.
Specifically his sister.
Well, no, back to her apartment.
Right.
I vomited everywhere. I was like, I don't know what was wrong. I don't know if it was the Starbucks, but yeah, I puked everywhere. It was gross. And I was like, I'm not playing any D&D.
Angie we made it through D&D, and then we made it through a little bit of robot battles, and then Angie had this look on her face like, I
It
gotta
was
go.
like 3:30 and I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm tapping out. I was like, I'll meet you guys later.
She's
Later
like,
being
I
Monday.
gotta go lay down.
fair.
Need to go lie down, take a nappy.
But did everybody enjoy their Dragon Con before we get started?
Yeah, it was a good time. It was always good. I got drunk. It's fun. I didn't get my pee-pee touched this year, but that's fine.
We've pretty much, Angie kind of figured out she thinks that because she hadn't been drinking and then she drank Saturday night. Are you being,
She boogered me.
She said walking
she's
away.
like, bye.
Bye. That's my love.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was probably, we said the dehydration and just the not drinking a
Yeah,
lot.
from being so hot. And then
Yeah.
on Sunday, my drinking lessened, so I feel like everything hit me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you're not drunk enough. You can feel this.
I definitely drank too much Saturday. I was drunk before 12.
Yeah, I think I didn't really get drunk. But Claire had brought all of these shots, so she was like, we need to have all these shots Saturday night. So I think that's where a lot of the shot problem came from.
Oh, yeah, all that sugar
for
and
me.
shit.
Maybe the sugar.
Yeah, it's probably was the sugar.
They were good shots, though.
Hell yeah.
They
I
were like
didn't have any.
buttery nipples.
Of the coitus or the movie?
Why not both?
I just put this like out of context, thinking about coitus to whatever this actual synopsis is.
27 years later, after their first encounter with the terrifying Pennywise, the Losers Club have grown up and moved away until a devastating phone call brings them all back. And the phone call is actually those IRS scams.
Yeah.
Like, we're shutting down your social security number. I got those so many times yesterday. Like, when I was at the movie, I got like 9 or 10 of them, like all 800 numbers. I was like, fuck. I just blocked all of you. You get more bullshit.
I just get your extended warranty is expiring a lot.
Oh, it's scary. Your social security number has been compromised. You have 28 bank accounts used for the drug trafficking. Really?
Wow, that's amazing. You called me to let me know I'm drug
We just
trafficking?
need you to verify your actual bank account and your social security number as well as your full name. Really?
1-800-fuck-you-too.
That'd be my fear that Pennywise transforms into. It's the fucking like Middle Eastern guy with the fucking
Oh, I
headset
know.
on, scamming me.
I told Angie yesterday. I said the clowns aren't what are scary anymore because we'll talk a little bit about how they end up defeating him. But what's actually scary is like you have to like put it in context to like 2019 now. So for me, it would be crippling student debt. That would be like fear. Like all I see is a big like bill coming at me, and it's like you have a 27%.
The interest on your loan is now due immediately. Kill me now. Just kill me.
Yeah, just kill me. I'm done. Just stab me.
Before we delve into spoilers and such, let's give a spoiler-free rating for the listeners, even though they should have fucking watched it before listening to this. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Very average.
It's average. There's some good, but there's a lot of problems with it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good wrap up, so I'll say 7.
I give it 6, 6.5
So
maybe.
we have like a nice little
It was
range.
decent, but it didn't like hold my attention. The scary scenes were a little too posterity.
Who is your favorite actor/actress, ladies?
Okay, here's the thing. I don't have like a favorite. I think what the movie did do right is the fact that they matched up the adult counterparts to the children really well. Like even we were talking about it. The kid or the guy who plays Ben in this movie, he I swear he looked Jay Ryan. Okay, I'm gonna find the name. He looked like the buffed up version of the fat kid.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Like even his mannerisms were almost dead on as to Ben in the original movie. And other than, I think the only one that I really thought didn't match up was James McAvoy. Like but he still had the mannerisms. But I don't know. I think they all did a great job of being those kids from the original movie.
What about you, Angie?
Yeah, I really liked Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I liked the Ben guy, but I agree, James McAvoy just didn't look like Bill. He didn't look like what you
He looked too sexy.
Oh, if you okay,
Well,
we'll go with that word.
Well, yeah, I think he like especially like in the book, like Ben's not Bill. Bill is not really that good of a looking guy. You watch the miniseries, he looks fucking rough. He looks not great.
Well, he's
looking.
he's supposed to be like
but the kid they picked was adorably cute.
Yeah.
That kid's gonna grow up and be a really good looking guy.
Yeah, I just think I think for what it was, the fact that they matched up the character. And the thing was, I kind of wonder, like, right after Chapter 1 came out, there was a whole Reddit thread talking about which actors they wanted to see play the kids and their counterparts. And they pretty much dead on matched up every single person. Like, Jessica Chastain was obviously the first pick.
Oh, yeah, there was a huge push. There was a huge push for her.
And I think actually Bill Hader was said to match up to Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things as Richie. So, and then
and the Eddie was perfect.
Yeah, when they kind of like at this one point they fade in from old Eddie to young Eddie,
and it's great.
Like I was like, he looks exactly the fucking same. Are they actually related in real life?
And the Ben with the dimple and the sweet innocence, and even the distance of his eyes apart were the same.
And even though Stanley, spoiler alert. Again.
Stanley looked
exactly like his younger, like just a darker haired version of it.
Bill, but I really like James McAvoy, so I'm not gonna hate on the pick.
Oh, I know. James McAvoy is a national
was
treasure.
Good. She was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patricia. Yes.
Patricia. Mine was actually Bill Hader. I love Bill Skarsgård, but Bill Hader was probably my favorite. He did a really good job, and the change they did with him, I really appreciated.
What? Okay, so it's been a long time since I read it. What was the big change? I know they mentioned
that he was gay.
Yeah,
he wasn't gay in the books.
No.
Which, I mean, I'm fine with that. I didn't really care either way. I just couldn't remember in the books if he was ever considered, like...
No, I think the books alluded to Bowers being...
Yeah, homosexual.
Yeah, he was lashing out, but I think it was nice.
Yeah. No, because it made Eddie's death matter more.
Yeah.
Like, you felt it more, especially at the end when he recarves it. I was like, oh, that's so fucking cute.
Yeah, this whole, like, thing where they've argued with each other their entire lives. You know,
it's a lover's quarrel.
It's a lover's quarrel.
Because in the book, they were all in love with Beverly. All of them.
Oh, in the book, they also all fucked her, too.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
That was, like, the biggest thing on the internet when part 1 was coming out.
Oh, I know.
Gave me the orgy scene. I was like, please, no.
Well, it was so awkward because in the book, when they went back as adults, she just remembered them by their penis sizes.
Yeah.
So I was like, is she going to say it?
Because I think there was, like, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Eddie or Ben had the biggest cock.
It was Ben.
And I was like,
and she was always like, he was plump, but his he was the one who actually broke my hymen. It was bigger and rounder, and I'm like, he's 11.
That's
Like,
so nasty.
please
What you
stop.
talking about, girl?
Well, to be fair, back then, I think this is part when King was on his coke binge phase still, so a lot of it felt like.
But
that.
I gotta also appreciate the fact that Stephen King inserted himself.
Oh my God!
Like literally like a
But
Stan Lee cameo.
What did his cup say?
I don't know.
No, he's been in a lot of his
Well,
movies.
no, I'm saying like it's Stanley cameo plus the fact that Bill was basically Stephen King.
I love that fucking throwing
Yeah.
shade. Your ending sucks.
Your endings suck. Your books are great. Your endings suck.
Yeah, I
That's
love
what
that
we all
shade.
say about King.
Yeah.
You know how
But
to.
what did he specifically held up a cup with the letters out, and I couldn't see what it said.
I saw
don't
CB.
remember.
I saw CB and not CBD or anything like that. But
Ooh.
Well, it is Stephen King, so.
I don't know. I'd be curious to see what they did say. I probably could find it on the interwebs.
Yeah, there's probably like a big old fucking
Reddit thread.
that, and I was gonna say it's for Easter eggs and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
Oh, before we get into it, how awesome was the Harlequin thing?
Oh,
Oh,
You see
yeah.
the- She's like, I'm sick of clowns. Like,
I
that-
know. It's like
that was cute.
I was like, this is the weirdest start to a movie. That doesn't look like Pennywise. It looks like Harley Quinn. It's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, because that was the big thing, like the Birds of Prey trailer and stuff.
Yeah, that was
Looking
a
at this.
big pop, lock, and drop.
Oh, because they're both Warner Brothers properties, so
Right.
it makes sense for it to be premiere.
DC.
No, but Warner Brothers
Oh.
owns.
I see.
They own DC Pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's because it's
Yeah, because
Warner.
you see like the red balloons, and then you saw DC, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well,
When
and
did
you also
Stephen
see.
King sell out to DC?
Well, and you also saw in It Chapter 2 when he's recording the movie is happening. It's on the Warner Brothers set.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see the big WB.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess it's a nice throwback and cuts down on production costs because hey,
They're
it's
already
all your
there.
production.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm looking forward to that movie. Hopefully, it's good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hopefully better than Suicide Squad.
It can't be any worse than Suicide Squad.
They're already doing a second Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but they're completely like. I think the only returning cast member from that's the guy that played Captain Boomerang. I think that's it.
Ah.
Everyone's gone. I think Harley might be
I'm sure
mentioned.
Harley Quinn. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest. She did a great job as Harley Quinn. What is that giggle goo look
She
at?
did a great job as Harley Quinn.
She looked real good as Harley Quinn.
Perv. Hentai. Anyways.
Wow. Anyway, do you...
What the hell?
Angie, stop being sexual over here.
They don't know what I did.
I'll tell them. I'll tell the whole world. No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of the whole world.
Do you feel like it... So there are some changes, but do you feel like the part 1 and part 2 captured the tone of the book pretty well? Or was it different? Like, I feel like the book is more like of an adolescent tale, almost similar to Stand By Me and such in the body. But the movie, I think the movie went more for the horror aspect rather than like the you know what I'm talking about, the kids, the building the relationship. I thought went for more jump scares and stuff rather than that, which I get though. You got to mass market in a movie.
I thought it captured. I'm opposite you. I thought it captured more of the friendship than the absolute horror that was that book, especially the way the ending changed.
Yeah, they did change the ending, which I was fine with. That was one of the changes I was fine with. Oh, I didn't like how they defeated it. I thought that was kind of silly.
Yeah.
I think the first movie captured the whole like nostalgia of Stand
Yeah.
By Me kind of feel to it. This one, I think, it felt like almost a standard horror movie in a sense, but the only difference being is that there was a first part to it, and it's already
a good horror movie.
yeah.
Especially Under the Bleachers with the little girl.
Oh yeah, that was terrifying.
Terrifying.
And I will say, what I do like about the way they did this movie is if you didn't see It Chapter 1, you don't have to. If you didn't see it, you can still watch It Chapter 2. Like the only references that are made allude back to what happened in the first that are important, but you didn't have to actually see It Chapter 1 to understand the whole point of what happened in the second one.
Yeah, that's true.
True. What was y'all's... Well, since we're alluding to the bleacher scene, what was y'all's favorite scene in the movie?
Okay.
You go, then I'll go.
I would say probably... I'm trying to think of like... I don't know. I think it was an overall good job. I would say the bleacher scene was probably the scariest scene because it's like... the entire time I'm sitting there like, don't be stupid chick. Don't be stupid little girl. Don't be stupid little girl. And she's stupid. I also think they did a really good job. I think the kids scenes... The kids in 2016 scenes were done really well. Like the one in the funhouse, like that really does like make me feel like what a funhouse should be like.
It's
like
terrifying.
the idea that you're like stuck in this room, there's no way out, and then he just comes through and eats you, which we do never find out whether he actually ate these kids or
No,
if this
he
was,
did.
He did.
He
Okay,
ate them.
it
Yeah.
wasn't like
they're eaten. They're gone.
Oh, great, that's lovely. I will say also, I think what really well done, especially in this time, was the first 15 minutes where they showed the gay hate crime. It's a hate crime. I couldn't remember exactly what it's called, but I think it kind of like encapsulates that old like small town feel of what it's like to not be like aligned with what you think is right or conform. And the thing that kills me is like if you look at the guys who did it, they're little nasty ass hillbilly type rednecks. I would have kicked their asses. And it's like this was just a couple who was out having a nice time at a carnival.
That was actually the scariest scene in the movie to me because that fucking happens all the
Yeah,
time.
That
I'm
actually
like,
happens.
yeah, it's super
And that
fucked
was like
up.
the most realistic thing, other than the fact that Pennywise eats the guy. I mean, but otherwise, I think that to me was I think that was a really well done scene to set the uncomfortable feeling that the series would have. Because the other option for that would be the child sex. That would have probably been the other way to make it really uncomfortable.
That's how you get a X rating. I don't think.
I don't think there's ever going to be a time, and somebody's going to come back in 10 years and say, look at it. But where they're ever going to show that from the book.
The only time I think they could is they up the kids' ages to 18, like they're seniors in high school, and then they'll be in their 40s or whatever. But it seems like a lot of work.
But
just
that
to show
would be a lot of work on top of it. It wouldn't like capture the feeling of the fear from it, because what was scary about it when they were kids was the fact that they were childhood fears.
Mm-hmm.
Like what made it good this time is that it wasn't what the problem was that it was their childhood fears reimagined at this point. It wasn't that they were scared of it. It was what they remembered from being kids.
What about you, Angie? What was your favorite scene?
Did you say your favorite?
Yeah, it was. I was going with the first scene.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, shoot. I really enjoyed when, and this is the craziest thing. I liked when he ate the kids. That scene, those things were scary and really well done. The acting was so good. Like when he was like, "Oh, nobody likes me because I'm just, a clown with a disfigured clown," and the little girl's like, "Oh."
I know what it feels like to be disfigured.
Yeah, then the funhouse scene was good. The way he tiptoed.
Yeah.
That was terrifying. But my favorite scene was when Richie is like yelling at it in his ship home.
Oh yeah. The deadlights, yeah.
Yeah, and Eddie has like stabbed it through the thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah," but then no, that's right before Eddie does it. But he's like doing something, all of a sudden it just opens his mouth.
Yep.
And the deadlights, and he's just
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, "Da, da, da, bong."
Yeah, that scene was
That
bananas.
scared the shit out of me. I was like, that's really well done.
You know what else was really well done? The Pomeranian. That was class A acting on that part of that Pomeranian.
Next time we're just going through the scary door.
Yeah, just dead middle, scary door. We're fine. Five Nights at Freddy's.
That
Deal.
Pomeranian was so cute.
Yeah, puppers are adorable.
And it's like, sit. Oh, look, it's that. And I'm thinking, just stab it with a spear.
Just jump over it and run.
Just stab it with a spear.
Yeah. Now we're gonna delve into the changes a bit. Since Angie and I have read it all the way through, probably more recently than Becky.
Yeah, I read it in high school.
Angie and I do agree on, like, we don't like one change that they took out the turtle bit, which I can see why, because that's the Macroverse, and Macroverse is really complicated for like the average moviegoer. But I still want my Black House and Dark Tower references, please.
Can you guys explain what this reference is about?
It's really hard to do that without spoiling the Dark Tower.
Spoil the Dark Tower. This is a spoiler.
Spoilers for the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so the turtle is, he's a beam. A beam is what holds up the world. And in the Dark Tower series, the beams are falling. And the turtle is one of the last surviving beams. So they're trying to save the beams. And it's referenced in the Black House. It's all through the Dark Tower. And it gets mentioned in it. Especially since it is a world eater.
Yep.
And they're the ones destroying the beams.
Right.
So there is a huge direct connection that's...
Right. So it never gets explained in it that this is actually a creature that's seen like in a metaverse almost.
Right. And even though I get why they couldn't put it in, because like Bobby said, you're talking about a lot of lore. I mean, put in an Easter egg for those of us who know it.
Like when they go to the deadlights and they're yelling, you can see like the image of a turtle go by real quick or something,
right.
you know? Because I know in the first bit there actually is a scene when they're in class, because I watched it almost back to back, there's a scene in class where there's a turtle on a desk, and how they shot it, it shows the turtle like on the globe.
Yes.
So I like that bit.
And then it shows in this one, I think there's turtles on
in a
you were talking
classroom.
about part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then Pennywise it appears behind it and just kind of
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Like I mean, there was a couple of things,
but
I do miss that one because that is a direct what the Deadlights are.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what I kind of understand why they took it out, but at the same time I can if you're not setting it up to be a reference for a move like a Marvel Cinematic Universe, I don't think it's any bad to throw some sort of reference. I mean, they threw in "Here's Johnny" at the point where Bev is being like suffocated in that bathroom. You hear "Here's Johnny." It's like that's a clear reference to The Shining.
And it, even in the books, and Gerald's game actually she talked about how she saw Dolores Claiborne, because in the books, when Dolores is throwing her husband she's murdered in the well, she like gets this image of like a woman tied to a bed dying, and they make eye contact, but she makes eye contact, and it's something that they connect, and it's mentioned again in another book.
So let me ask this
it's mentioned in Dr. Sleep, actually.
Well, I was gonna ask, is this universe really like Dark Tower, and then it's like alternate universes where this is happening, or is it like Dark Tower is a universe our parallel universe to what's happening in ours?
Dark Tower is where all creation goes. It's the prime.
The watchtowers of the north, south, east, west.
Yeah,
that's the Dark Tower. It's the last standing tower. If that tower falls in the beams, then nothing exists.
Yeah, it's the tower, and the beams shoot off of it.
So it kind of like it holds up our universes, or
yeah.
So you know how the Wiccans, when they pray, they're like, we pray to the guardian of the Watchtower of the North.
Yeah.
And so each of those watchtowers have that beam guardian, and they shoot and connect, and they hold the worlds up. Well, the world eaters like it are devouring them. It just happened to be young and got stuck here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm caught up now. I catched up.
Yeah, the Dark Tower is the prime. It's everything, like all like of King's works allude to it in some at least in a little bits. The Dark Tower is prime, which is magnum opus.
And
it's
if you
want to
learn like the full lore, just read the Black House, the Talisman, those series, because Dark Tower will tell you a lot, but way later in the book. So is the
Black House, like in the movie, a reference to this Black House?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because it is a Black House.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Black House in it is it just a portal? Is that what it's supposed
to be? Yeah, they're portals. They're the Black Houses.
Dimmies, that's what they're called, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact
King's
name.
terms are real fucking weird sometimes.
And I was going to say, like, you never get an explanation as to why this house was built over this place where it came from. Like, you get the whole Native American reference and that it is an alien being, but you don't really get,
I think, like Bobby said, you have to go back into this whole, like, metaverse lore, which is impossible to do. Don't you scare my kitten.
Well, she's trying to get in the box.
It's a boo-boo. Boo-boo. Did you find a clown in there?
Probably.
She's found a Pomeranian.
So do you think this kind of sets up for like I almost said a Steven universe, but like kind of like a Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I feel like they ruined the Dark Tower with that first movie, so I think it's not going anywhere.
Well, yeah, they killed off all the bad guys, and it was and they don't mention the Crimson King, and it's a no.
Yeah.
But was the Dark Tower or was it separate? Kind of, I can't even speak to that.
It's by different companies. Sony.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, so you know how Fantastic Four is getting reimagined again with the Marvel Cinematic
they
Universe.
Could definitely redo
they definitely redo it. I hope they will.
But I think that they would start with doing the Black House and the Talisman.
Well, they are redoing it. They're actually starting off with Wizards and Glass. It's and then they're going forward. I think it's HBO's doing it, so we're getting that, which is cool.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So we're getting that, but it's still in production, so we're not going to see it till next year.
So it was Wizards and Glass was the first one?
Yeah.
Then the Talisman, then the Black House?
Yeah, they're all referenced to each other. The Wizards and Glass was Roland's backstory before he becomes a True Gunslinger and everything, and then all that, yeah. So they'll be doing that first, and then I know for a while TNT was trying to do a Talisman show, but that got canceled. Because they keep getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, so we'll see what happens. I'm super excited for Dark Tower. That's my shit.
Yeah.
Love it.
So those were the big changes. And the thing, like, I don't know.
Also, Mike, in the book, Bowers stabs him, and he's stuck in a hospital. In the movie, he's there, so it's that got changed a little bit, too.
I was thinking that I feel like one of them got taken out early on, other than Stanley.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember who it was, and I think it makes sense that it was Mike, but this whole thing with the basket and stuff, I guess because he's the one that sort of started them coming back, that it made more sense for him to be a necessary
and
part of it.
And that's why it was so hard for them to do it, because he wasn't there to guide them.
Because he knew everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was able, kind of like the Dolores Claiborne Gerald's game mind speak type thing.
Yeah, that's what they had to do. He's like, you have to, during the ritual of Chud, how you pronounce it, he mind speaks into him and everything. This is what you got to do.
There was a lot of good stuff missing, but I get why they didn't do it, but it was disappointing.
Yeah.
The worst change was how they fucking beat him. That shit was fucking stupid.
Yeah, I wasn't happy because I was looking forward to seeing what it looked like.
Yeah.
What was the actual way? Because I don't think I ever finished it.
Well, once they defeated the clown Pennywise, the true form of It's revealed, and she's a huge insectile alien.
Yeah.
And she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had babies, and they shoot the slingshot bits into her, the silver balls into her, into the deadlights, killing it.
Remember the rocks were what brought them all together.
Yeah.
So there was a whole thing. It wasn't just a token. They had to use something that was empowered with their childhood belief. So they shot those into her. They used the spear of monster killing to cut up under it. Mm-hmm. And then that's when one of them got seriously hurt.
Yeah, I think
at that scene.
Yeah, I think it was
because
Eddie.
he sacrificed himself to actually cut her.
I actually felt kind of sympathetic to Pennywise when they squeezed his heart out because his little hands were like.
Yeah, I just didn't like the ending where you just scream at him. I was like, come on, man.
Oh, you're just a clown. I'm like, wow, you were bullying. Even though it's a monster, you're still bullying. You're showing that bullying works.
Yeah. I know. That's what I was kind of like. I guess the thought process was you're not scared of what scares you. Like, you have to overcome your fear and show that you're not scared of it. But let me tell you, I even put this on Facebook. You just load up a ranked League of Legends game, let them play jungler. That's how you defeat Pennywise. You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Pennywise, here's this game.
A jungle
But
difference.
I did miss, even though when I read the book, I'm like, what? She was a big roach bug? Well, I think he did look like a grasshopper and a fly.
Yeah, it was something. It's hard.
It made more sense than just being... And it made more sense because she actually in her body had those cosmoses that spun the deadlights.
Yeah, they had the eggs that the kill and everything too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that did not that pissed me off. It
was just kind of strange for it. You never really understood the context of it without showing the alien portion. I told Angie, I read most of the book in high school. I never finished it, and she kind of explained to me what happened. And you don't really understand the context of what it is. Until you see that it's an alien. Mm-hmm. You just assume it's some sort of monster.
And in the book, it stayed where she was because it was such a horrible town, so prejudiced. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's why they showed the hate crime, just to show what type of town it was over. Now, did they poison her? Did she poison them?
Yeah,
right.
That was the thing. Was the town bad? Was the soil bad before it got there?
And we're pretty sure it is because all of his books, Derry, Maine's a pretty shitty town.
Yeah. Right. But I think it was a good reference in the movie about how they talk about how it's infected us and that we're going to end up dying. Mm-hmm. Is it a chicken or an egg argument? Was it because of her? You
can see on the one kid, he had the big herpes on his cheek, the ones in the hate crime. They looked like they had been infected by her.
Yeah.
And yet, when they were down there, fighting the clown, his faces would change through all of those people.
Yeah.
It didn't go into as much detail as it should have about who Pennywise was. Why it had chosen Pennywise back in the day to be its emissary, like it was choosing Bowers.
Yeah.
And I think that they should have, instead of doing the Bowers stuff this iteration, they should have focused more on when she discovered that woman and the Pennywise, on who Pennywise was, because the Pennywise storyline was fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because you show Bowers getting killed in the first one, you don't have to show him again. We just assume he's dead. You already changed so much, why not change that?
Yeah. And it was an unnecessary part of it. He would pop up, and I'm like, oh, I even forgot this guy was even in this movie. What is he doing?
Because you're not gonna maim Mike and keep him out wrestling, then there's no fucking point.
Yeah, if he's not getting maimed to be taken out, and even him stabbing Eddie.
Yeah, you could have had Pennywise hurt Eddie.
Yeah, and that could have been it.
Which I actually would have preferred that, because the main problem I always had with Pennywise, I like Pennywise as a concept, but he would rah scary. Okay, bye. I feel and since you did that a lot in the first one, and up to that point, if you'd shown oh, I'm going to scare you, but now I'm also going to fucking hurt you, that would have been cool, because up to that point, he just scared them and let him get away.
Right.
That'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool.
And that's the kind of the thing I always had a problem with. Other than the fact he killed Eddie at the very end, it was that you knew all he was doing was making you hallucinate.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was actually harming you. They should have remembered that when they were kids. I mean, I know they forgot their stuff, but you know, everybody knew. It's like as long as you knew it wasn't real, he couldn't hurt you.
But then when they were adults, they realized that he was eating people for real because she was hungry because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
She had to eat more. She was on the time crunch.
Also, they cut out
Time crunch.
Beverly's abusive husband.
Yeah.
And Bill's wife coming to town. They cut that out. Which is
I
fine.
thought
I was
that was
just
kinda
waiting for
strange.
his wife to get there.
They cut it all
Because
all
I'm like,
out.
when his wife gets there, Bev's gonna lose her I love Bill in a quick minute. Also, I think that we were talking about Richie's being gay in the movie. I kind of feel like it was maybe Stephen King feeling bad for in the book how Bowers was. But he was a kid, but he was also molesting those boys.
Yeah.
He would take them out to that field and force them to do stuff to him. And I think maybe Stephen King was just trying to say, it's okay to be gay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because this guy was bad in my book, but you're not bad because you're gay.
Because at the time he wrote it, there was still late
Right.
80s, the AIDS
Yeah.
epidemic. There's
It was
a lot of
still a
rampant
taboo.
So
homophobia and
your
everything.
bad guys, molested boys, and it was a trope.
And I think
It still is.
Well, and I think I do appreciate what the movies did, where they set it in the 80s and then in the teens of now, because it's hard to relate back to the 60s and the 80s, which it would have been in that time, because even in the 80s it was very like taboo, very prejudicial, and now it's harder for us to imagine that if you weren't living in that time period. So I think what it did is kind of like put that nostalgic fear from like the 80s if you were living in the 80s, and then put it to you as an adult now.
Are y'all excited for future adaptations? Because we're getting a bunch. This fucking first one made a bunch of money. This made a bunch of money already. So we're getting a lot. We're getting
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep. Which
I'm
is coming
very
out.
excited about
Yeah.
Dr. Sleep.
Ewan McGregor's gonna be fucking great. Also, he's getting the Obi-Wan show, which I'm super excited for. On
I'm
Disney
gonna put out a controversial statement. I think Dr. Sleep is a better book than the Shining movie. I thought the Shining movie was stupid.
Oh, the Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson one.
Yeah.
Well, because most of that book took place in their heads. It
Yeah.
was their crazy thoughts, all
Yeah.
of them, except the kid. And even when he's lost in the maze and the hedges are moving and the, plant monsters are trying to get him, it's still in his head. It's really hard to convey that.
Yeah.
King didn't even like the Kubrick adaptation.
Yeah.
He
Yo,
doesn't
yeah,
like
that's
it.
why I was
Yeah.
surprised when they started showing the trailer and it's showing the Kubrick like scenes from that
Continuity,
movie,
yeah.
because Stephen King hated that movie. He did not like how they did it, which a lot of people say it's one of like it's one of the scariest movies of all time. I didn't find it scary.
I think scariest movies of all time at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember, that's when scary movies were first getting launched, and you've got this terrifying.
Well, it's kind of like The Exorcist. Like, I know The Exorcist still scares you, but like The Exorcist was such a terrifying movie because it was one of the first of its kind.
It still is terrifying.
So funny thing about The Exorcist with me, the actual possession stuff doesn't scare me. It's the build-up that's way more terrifying.
Yes,
Yeah, that
like
was
the knocking
scarier.
in the wall stuff.
Yeah, way more
What's
terrifying.
that knocking?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
Captain
pipes. And you're
Howdy.
like, that's a fucking
Yeah.
demon.
Yeah, like all that's
Yeah.
way more scary than
And
like
when they're
pea
at the
soup.
party and
Yeah.
she like pees in the floor and she's
Yeah.
spider walking, I'm like,
That's
oh,
way-
she's,
yeah, that's
she's
way
about
more.
Yeah.
to get
I think The Shining,
the bullshit's going down.
I think The Shining was scarier in the book because of the mind stuff, because it didn't do a good job in the Kubrick version of explaining that this was all in their mind. It wasn't just ghosts that were scaring them. It was like they were going crazy.
Yeah, it didn't explain the shine very well. And
Which we'll
also that one hotel room number 5,
Yeah.
like it seems to be a steady theme in his things is the number 5.
We'll but I'm excited. Really, am excited for Dr. Sleep because we're gonna get more in depth in that and everything.
Yeah, the Dr. Sleep novel did a good job of explaining what the shine was.
And I feel like they're going with the Dr. Sleep film. They're going with the Kubrick continuity is because it's so famous. Like, and people know. Oh, so a lot of people that haven't read The Shining will go to the Jack Nicholson version and be like, oh, this is what this is a sequel to
Right.
that.
And plus, I guess it makes it easier to explain it. If
And it
you,
wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a bad movie. And plus, it kind of helps the continuity for continuity
Yeah.
purposes. Like, Dr. Sleep is a continuation of The Shining.
There's one thing they're gonna have to change though, because in the movie the caretaker gets killed, and this he's still alive. So they're gonna have to like, oh,
They
he
got to
gets
retcon it.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, he
Yeah.
survived. He was just close to death or
Right.
something. So
Yeah.
Yeah, which
like
you know they never did explain that in the movie anyway.
Yeah.
So you kind of assumed that he died, but like everything
Yeah.
else, if
Yeah.
you don't see them die on screen,
luckily,
they're not dead.
Luckily, Kubrick's films are style over substance, so we're okay with that.
Yeah,
But I'm excited for it.
I think
really.
Ewan McGregor's gonna do a good
Oh,
job.
God,
like
yeah.
when I see him, I don't picture him as the Danny from The Shining in the original movie, but I could see where he could be Dr. Sleep, like in the book, the personification
Yeah.
of Dr. Sleep.
Especially when the book starts and Danny's just an alcoholic like his father, kind of a loser, no good, living with his mom, homeless.
Living on a prayer.
Yeah.
But my big problem is gonna like the Pet Cemetery. We still haven't seen Pet Cemetery, but
I've heard mixed things.
but
Yeah.
but the thing is like,
Changed it down.
well, they changed the child that gets turned
Yeah.
into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't change these things that are classic parts of these books. That's the problem, and I think that's where y'all are having a problem with like it. It's also with like the Pet Cemetery. Like, what was so scary was the little boy was the one coming after them.
Like Pennywise was the scary part of it, but you still have to deal with what created it. So when Pennywise goes away and you can finally see the enormous alien with the deadlights, it's so scary, and all of her eggs, and they're like, oh my god, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Exactly.
Now, Angie, what is your favorite Stephen King books? I know you have a lot.
Oh,
You like a lot.
man.
Okay, give me your top 5.
Okay, I like the Black House.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just count the Dark Tower series?
Yeah, of
as
course.
one?
Yeah, there's 7. There's
'Cause
8
that's-
of them.
Yeah,
So.
if you count the Wizard and Glass.
Oh, and the other one they did, went through the keyhole, the one that like the
Oh,
little
yeah.
spin-off bit they
Yeah.
did later on. Yeah.
Okay, and I really liked Cujo. I loved it. Okay, I like almost all of his books equally.
It's hard.
I think my least favorite is probably Rose Madder.
Mine's Doom McKee.
Oh,
Doom McKee was real fucking
that's
weird.
hard to get into. And
Yeah.
is that the one where it starts with like the on the beach thing?
Yeah, the whole painting
oh.
bit. That was real
Yeah,
weird.
that to me was a lot like Rose Madder. You're like, what are you doing here, King? We're trying to follow you. At least in Rose Madder, you had the bull man that was terrifying. He was coming out of
Yeah.
a painting, and then he took her in. But you're just like, what fucked up trip were you on? Because we can't follow you. I'm having a hard time following you down this path. I mean, Rose Madder was good. She was escaping an abusive husband, and in this painting, he was represented as like this bull man.
Mm-hmm.
But and she also sees Dolores Claiborne at one point, doesn't
They're
she?
all everything. That fucking
Yeah.
eclipse.
Yeah,
everything-
that eclipse that hit.
Yeah, and the one that was in Gerald's game too, right?
It's all. Yep. It's all.
Yeah, they all connected.
Yeah, I think it's the eclipse that triggers it in a bit. Yeah, it's like they
yeah,
all
that's
see it
right.
through
It
there.
was the eclipse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because also they see
and
the
that's how
whole
it's going to connect to Doctor No Sleep.
Because they all see the
it's
whole
that
molest-
Doctor
yeah.
No Sleep.
Doctor Sleep.
the No Sleep podcast coming
Doctor
through.
No Sleep podcast.
The Doctor No Sleep podcast.
Listen, next week's episode of the No Sleep podcast. Ewan McGregor's here. Oh fuck.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
we did it.
Oh yeah, I need
Oh.
to follow up with her.
Yeah.
True. My favorite book is the girl that left Tom Gordon. That book's great. It's
I
so
love
good.
it, and it's smaller.
Yep. It's like
And it's probably one of the only books that you're like, that ending was fucking
I
amazing.
know. It's so good. You read that book?
I have not.
Go
Okay,
buy it. It's worth.
we have to get it for you because here's the thing: that ending didn't let you down.
It was super
She finally
intense.
makes it to the road and she looks back, and
So-
the bear's still there in that car. Like, hey,
So I will be
yeah.
dead honest with you. The only 3 books The only 2 books I've ever finished that were Stephen King novels were It and Doctor Sleep. No, not It. The Shining and Doctor Sleep.
Okay.
So those are the only 2 I've ever finished and I'll explain why. But let me do I want to do something real fast. I'm going to name a book that's a Stephen King novel and see what y'all's reactions are to it, okay?
Sure.
okay.
Okay, Misery.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah,
a
that's
great
good.
movie too.
Okay, The Stand.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm excited for the adaptation they're
classic.
doing.
Me too. Oh yeah.
They're doing another adaptation. of
And
it.
I was thinking that it couldn't get better than the original, but with techniques and stuff,
Oh, yeah,
it
like-
probably can.
Yeah. Like the actors in the original Stand are great.
Wonderful.
The effects
Like Molly Ringwald,
yeah.
you can't top Molly
and,
Ringwald.
the dude from Forrest Gump and CS.
Oh yeah.
Christine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I liked it. Oh, and then the follow-up to Christine was From the Back of a Buick 8, and that
Yeah.
was pretty good too. I forgot about that book.
Yeah, that's when I was like, cause it's so weird with the whole
that was the beginning of Christine, wasn't it?
It-
Back of the Buick 8,
it's-
and that's how Christine was created.
It was complicated because it was talking about different worlds. Like the
Oh.
back seat went into that different universe and stuff.
Oh
It was
yeah.
so weird.
Oh, which connects to the Dark Tower.
Yep. Yep.
Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck the new one. The original movie though too. Ooh, that's good shit.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the original movie was really good. Actually, no, I did finish Carrie as well. So that was one, but I read that one in middle school, so that's why I forgot about it.
It was funny. He was writing Carrie, and he had he didn't know how a teenage girl would talk and react. So he went to his wife like, "Hey, help with this shit, please."
And Tabitha's a writer in her own right, so
which is why
she's a writer in her own right.
And the reason why I don't read a lot of Stephen King novels, especially reading some of the ones Angie's told me, what's the one with the cars that go by and shoot at the houses? What was it called?
The Regulators.
The Regulators.
Oh.
Because it gets so stupid halfway through these books.
What was his name? Tack.
Yeah, Tack. And then The Outsiders. Or The Outsider, which halfway through is real good, and then suddenly it just switches on you.
It stayed good, and the ending you're like, really?
But let me tell
you stay like this for a long time.
Let me tell you, Joe Hill, his son,
real good
writer. Heart-Shaped Box is still top 3 one of my favorite books of all time.
Horns?
Yeah,
I liked Horns a lot.
Horns was good, and The Fireman was really good. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever finished The Fireman, Angie.
I loaned it to Bobby and got to get it back.
Yeah, I'll bring the books back next week. Did you loan me The Fireman? I don't know. I know you.
Maybe I did. I loaned you 4 or 5.
3, I think.
I'm gonna break your kneecaps at this point.
Fuck, they're on my bookshelf.
Nosferatu. They're making a movie on that one too.
Really?
Oh no, that one was good.
That one is so fucked up on so many levels. It's like Joe Hill took understood the fact that his dad could not finish a book very well and fixed that problem.
Yeah, Horns was the last book I can remember reading in one sitting. I finished that.
I was the same with Heart-Shaped Box.
Because I bought it while I was still in high school. I finished reading it at 4 in the morning, and I was like, cool, 2 hours sleep.
And the movie was good, too.
Yeah, Daniel Kite was really good in that movie.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Stephen King writes really well. I as much as I gripe about him writing himself into his book, I thought the ending to the Dark Tower series was phenomenal. Wouldn't change it for the world.
Make it it's a loop.
Yes.
But he's got the horn
and
now.
And he's done it thousands of times at that point.
He's got the horn of Gilead now, so hopefully it'll change.
Yeah.
The horn? Did you say Horns of Gilead?
No, Horn of Gilead.
Horn of Gilead.
And when I ever hear Gilead, I think of Handmaid's Tale, and my head's like, no, thank you.
Oh, no. But it's not that fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. Mm-hmm. I think it was pretty good for what it was.
We have a couple of Stephen King. He writes short stories incredibly well.
Gerald's Game was actually really good. The Netflix adaptation of it was really good.
Yeah, and just think the book was even better.
That's what's terrifying.
Dolores Claiborne took a minute to get into, but it was still really good.
Some of them once it gets
slow
going,
burners.
it's good. Once it gets going, it's good. But he does he has to tell you the character's inner thought and reaction to everything.
Yeah. He's kind of like J.R.R. Tolkien in that sense, but less wordy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's probably the only writer that I know who can write a book like Misery and Cujo, where it's just one person's perspective, and you're just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
But what I do also appreciate about his books is that everything does reference back to something in a previous book, even if it's just a slight reference. But what it does is it sets up that this is a world where all of this is happening. It's not just like one and done. This is what's happening.
It's all connected.
Red rum.
Cause a circle.
All these squares make a circle.
Always squares make a circle. But yeah. Hey, Becky, where can they find us? Mm-hmm. We all float down in these certain websites.
I could not float yesterday. I ate too much sushi.
I could tell. I could tell I was fucked up. No, you said it on Facebook.
I know.
That sounded really fucking mean, so I had to rephrase it.
I know. I was like, oh my god, Bobby, where are my feelings? I'm telling you though, if you want to defeat it in this iteration of this movie, load him up as a jungler and let it go. He's gonna be little tiny hands trying to hit his ultimate. It was pretty good. Hey guys, you can find us on Facebook at the Free Rotation Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at the Free Rotation. You can find us on YouTube and Twitch at the Free Rotation.
Instagram
at the Free Rotation Podcast.
Website.
It's been too long that I can't get this out of my head. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, whatever.
And
not
don't forget our
SoundCloud.
Patreon like we did.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh shit! Oh, she's dead. She's dead for sure.
Cat almost killed everything.
Dead lights right there.
You can find all of our social media shit. We have like 80 plus episodes. You can find all of it if you need to find it.
She's literally standing on the box lids she's trying to open. I thought I had a smart cat. Watch her. She's like, I'm going to open this lid, even though I'm standing on it. Let's see. Boy, you're standing on it, honey.
So sick.
I need you to go bite the kitty.
We be geeks.
Okay.
But thanks for listening, guys. Tune in next week. We're talking about Hitler and the cult.
Ooh.
Hi.